Let us say good day to you this day of your time. We will begin this transmission by reminding you that this title is The Parallel Reality Wheel. And what we are referring to is that sequence of frames that your consciousness shifts through to create the continuity of what feels like, what you experience to be a smooth, unbroken timeline that you think of as your life path, as your experience in physical reality. However, in order to allow you more ability to navigate more consciously through the different frames of different parallel realities that make up your timeline, so that you can more consciously navigate yourself in the directions of the reality, the version of Earth that you prefer, we are going to bring you this little exercise, this little permission slip that can begin to sort of shake you loose, loosen you up a little bit more from your particular timeline that might be created by certain belief systems, so that you have a little bit more ability to break your continuity. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to lose touch with what you consider your typical reality to be. It's not about going that far. Nevertheless, this exercise, as we describe it to you, can, as we say, expand your imagination, expand your consciousness to a greater degree, to give you a little bit more ability to start choosing frames in the different parallel realities that are far more representative of the timeline that you prefer to experience.
If there's parallel realities, each one having a slightly different version of me, then how do I know choosing a parallel reality can make a difference, since I'm in all of them?
You are not in all of them. The idea is that each of those versions is its own distinct person. But the idea is that what you experience through continuity as a change in yourself is not a change in your personality. It is a shift of your consciousness to express itself through a completely different personality, a completely different person. So any change, as we have said, is a total change. And since you are shifting billions of times per second, you are literally shifting your consciousness through billions of people per second, billions of versions of you. But versions of you are not you in the sense of the personality. It's only you in the sense of your consciousness, your overall consciousness that perceives itself to be itself. But any change in what you consider your personality to be is actually your consciousness now perceiving through a different person entirely.
And so that also applies to the idea of being an infinite being that always exists, because everything is always perceived as happening, in a sense, to you.
Correct.
Regardless of what environment, what reality you're experiencing.
Correct.
It's a very interesting phenomenon.
Yes.
Hi, Bashar. This is Jantine from the Netherlands, and I wanted to ask you a question about human DNA. You told us many times that the Anunnaki left DNA behind in what we now call our species, but I was wondering, before the Anunnaki came to Earth, if there were other extraterrestrial life forms that left DNA behind on this planet in what we call our species. So I was wondering if you could say something about our DNA lineage and which species are intertwined in our DNA. Thank you so much, Bashar.
The Anunnaki were the first to actually locally transform your genetic material from Homo erectus to Homo sapien. But the idea to remember is that through the device called panspermia, genetic material was brought to Earth long, long ago on asteroids and comets. So in that sense, even the naturally evolved hominids on Earth are already containing some genetic material of other extraterrestrial species to begin with, as is all life on Earth, because it all comes from elsewhere and landed on Earth in these cometary and asteroidal impacts millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of years ago and grew from that. So the idea is that you do have some very ancient connections to many other extraterrestrial races, most of which you know nothing about at all, and for which there are no names for you. That would make sense. For this comes from long ago, billions and billions of years ago, as things transpire across the universe. But the Anunnaki were the first to locally manipulate the genetic material of the so-called naturally evolved hominid upon the Earth that was the result of genetic material being spread on Earth from those asteroidal and cometary impacts billions of years ago.